On.
Nice. Ready? Okay. So we don't have a timer here, so we're going to have some hand gestures of when we're close to time. But today we are here to talk about recruitment transformation, and sometimes that's a little abstract when you only have 30 minutes. Sometimes it's a bit technology or process heavy. Today we really want to have you walk away with some foundational tactical knowledge, essentially. So we've kind of done an intro, so we can skip that.
Yeah.
And I think what would be fun for the audience is for them to really understand the scale of Busy Bees, because on the surface of things, it looks quite cute, but this might surprise you.
So Busy Bees is the largest provider of early years education in the UK. We've got over 400 nurseries across the country, including Scotland and the Channel Islands. We're also global. So Busy Bees is across 9 different countries. We've got nearly 1,000 nurseries worldwide, and our growth each year since in the 3 years that I've been there has been massive. So we've had 5% growth year on year. We are PE backed, and our turnover is 1 billion. So it's really something on a large scale. A lot of you are probably thinking about your local nursery with your children and where they go, and that's absolutely what we do. But it's a huge, big global enterprise, and it's a brilliant business to be part of.
Yeah. Hands up. Did anybody think it would be that scale? A nursery? Yeah. Oh, there's one little finger I can see. Okay. But yeah, look, I think what's interesting is when you look at that scale, the importance, and you touched on that about being a parent yourself, what's at stake when a hire goes wrong?
Yeah. So anyone here got kids? Yeah. Okay. And anyone dropped their kids off today at nursery? Yeah, fab. So imagine you couldn't do that. Imagine you couldn't drop your child off at nursery, and then what that would mean to your working day. So the impact is huge. And when we think about this on the level of, nurses and doctors and ambulance drivers, it is literally the foundation of our whole sort of working life. So without the nurseries and without the people in the nurseries to look after the children, a lot of us wouldn't be able to go to work.
Yeah. And I think, again, what's incredible before I joined and met yourself is that I had no idea of the scale, and also not taking into account the importance. And every hire is important, every business is critical, but that really breaks down. You need to get things right. So taking a step back, before the transformation, describe what your hiring process was like. Where do we begin this story?
Okay, so my team are here. What was our process like, guys? Before, would we want to go back to that? Definitely not, no. So our processes were horrific. They were manual. We had some sort of ATS. It was badged on ATS. It was an absolute waste of space. The team were working off spreadsheets. We had no visibility of what was going on. There was no data. There was no insight. There was just nothing. It was a nightmare. And our poor nursery managers, if you think about their role, so they are responsible, for those of you who've got kids who put your hands up before, how hard is that? Looking after a child, one child a day. Imagine looking after 100 plus a team, plus the parents, and we're all got the best intentions, but the parents ringing all day trying to find out what the child's at and have they had a wee and all of those things. So the pressure on the nursery manager is massive. We actually did a review of all of the tasks that the nursery manager does in a day, and it really was just ridiculous. They couldn't fit it in a year, never mind a day. So we had to do something. We had to look at what we were doing as a TA function and how this was going to support this immense growth of the business.
For those who don't know, what should a nursery manager be doing? What's their day-to-day reality? What were they being pulled away from?
So as I've described, all of the pressures that are on the nursery manager, and they need to be there to make sure that that culture and that environment for the children is the absolute best it can be. So again, for anyone who's had a child or going to have a child, when we bring these children into the world, we don't just launch them off and there they go. We put a lot of time and effort into giving them the right food, the right amount of sleep, the right interaction, trying to build them into really amazing humans. And so when you're handing them over to the nursery, the people that you're handing them to have got to have that same outlook. They've got to understand what that is. So, what was the question again?
Whatever it actually was, but I think you answered it beautifully. And I think the message here is a lot of you will have critical workforce that shouldn't be, or we don't want to be pulling them away with admin-heavy burden.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
they need to be like looking after the team and looking after the children. They're the most important people at the end of the day.
Yeah, and with that scale, with that pressure from the parent side, the child side, the nursery managers and what they're balancing, was there something in particular that you thought, right, now is the time to make change?
So there was a combination of factors happening all at once. It was like a perfect storm. So the business, I've described the scale. My team look after 3,000 to 4,000 hires a year. There's 14 of them. And so with this kind of incredibly prohibitive infrastructure, the huge amount of growth that was required, and the fact that added into the mix here, we are, as an industry, one of the standouts in terms of the jobs market the last few years. So a lot of you will have been experiencing either reductions or static job growth. In early years and the health and social care, we have been the front leaders in the UK as an industry for jobs growth. So we're in an incredibly competitive market, which again made it even more important that we sorted our stuff out.
Yeah, and I was going to do a whoop there because I think the amount of hires and work that you've done for a team of 14, like, can we give these guys a round of applause? Like, come on, that's awesome. They're so cool as well, look at them. Okay, I want to be them. So, with that being set out, with that accumulation of everything, when you decided to overhaul the process, you must have had a non-negotiable list. What did that look like?
Yeah, so it's quite ironic because IT made me like do this huge big framework. If anyone's ever gone through like a ATS renewal or procurement process, and it was insane and it was a lot. But actually going through that and meeting some of the suppliers, I was able to distill it down to like 4 key criteria. And the top one was, going back to what I've described in terms of the nursery manager role, it had to be user-friendly for those people. They are not naturally, IT-friendly. They're too busy, like, to be sitting there and trying to click through various different platforms to get what they need. They needed it to be on hand, quick, fast, and easy. So that was our absolute priority. For my team, that usability was important, but less so, because they're in it every day. They can learn how to navigate, they can understand the functionality. But for the hiring managers, it was absolutely key. The other one was around the candidate journey. So we needed a really seamless, slick candidate experience. As I've described, our market is still so competitive that we've got to be first to get to those people. And when we've got them, we need to take them through the process as quickly as possible so we don't lose them. So our candidate journey had to be the best it could be. Added into that, we needed to have data and insight. Like, we had none. We didn't know what worked. We didn't know where things were getting stuck. We needed to be able to hold the operation to account, but also support them and help them for where maybe things were going wrong. So they became the absolute non-negotiables through the process.
So you've got a business at scale, you've got critical roles and critical workforce, you've got a non-negotiable list. What made you confident that a new platform could handle all of that complexity?
Yeah, okay. So it really, that the platform had to have the functionality. It had to stand up against those non-negotiables. It had to allow us to build an infrastructure that I knew we needed for the scale and capacity that we were going to have to cope with. So that meant that we were in a specific kind of part of the market. So it did kind of whittle it down. But the other piece that was really important was having a team within the supplier base that was going to be consultative, accountable. It was going to manage the aftercare and make sure that our implementation was the best it could be. Because to add into the mix, IT gave me no resource. Like, we literally, my team, God love them, like, you deserve all the claps that we can give you, because they delivered this without any IT resource, which is incredible.
Okay, amazing. So there's the context, and I'd love to now focus in on that transformation. I think with technology, a lot of you here are probably going through an element of transformation and change yourself. So, zooming into present day, walk us through what the hiring process looks like from application right through to somebody starting Busy Bees.
So we've gone from our nursery managers were responsible for all of the paperwork, whether that was for the interviews, whether that was for the onboarding and the safer recruitment aspect. So if anyone works in a regulated environment, you can understand how important that onboarding process is. So what we've done today is we've moved to like the slickest version of the candidate journey that we can probably get at the moment. So candidates apply and automatically lands into the ATS. My team then review and will select the people who are suitable for those roles to go forward, and they're then sent an automated email to book in at a time that suits them to an interview. This is really important because the people that we're trying to recruit are, in the main, in a nursery all day. I don't know if you know the hours that people do in a nursery. It's insane. Like, you know, it's not a 9 to 5 job. It's usually like an 8, 9, couldn't even be a 10-hour day. So when they're looking for a role, the time that they've got is really precious. So we needed to make sure that that was absolutely optimized. And then in terms of the kind of feedback loop, so again, we've made that really simple. So the hiring manager can give us feedback on Teams or through email really quickly and easily at like just a click of a button. My team are able to understand now who is suitable and make the relevant send the relevant paperwork out, which is all done online, and the candidates can sign online, and that's all done, you know, instantaneously. So everything's just fast, easy, and you can do it on your phone. When we get into the onboarding process, part of the non-negotiables was being able to partner with an online onboarding provider that was going to make our onboarding and safe recruitment checks the best it could be. Again, that user-friendly aspect needed to be at the top notch. So we decided to go with a company called Zinc. Zinc are here today. They're next to the ICIMS tent. And they've been fantastic. They're another supplier who actually work with you rather than against you. They really understood our problem. They understood what solution we needed, and we worked together to make sure that our onboarding process is the best it can be. And that's reduced down all of the key metrics from our process.
So what I'm hearing is a lot more streamlined and more and like working smart as well as hard. Mm-hmm. And I know that time to offer is really important to you because without the nursery managers in play, you shut down nurseries, if I understood that right. So with that time to offer decreasing, so you're getting quicker, what was the key part that unlocked that for you?
So it was everything I've described already. So being able to get visibility of the process so that my team can spot where things are held up and they can take corrective action, but also just making, both for the hiring manager and the candidate, the experience as quick and easy and as simple as possible on their phone is the way to do it. So that has taken our time to hire down from, I think it's about 30-odd days, 35 days, down to 15. And everybody who applies to us is turned around within like 24 hours.
Yeah, and those incredible results, I think we all know here that it's not just you click technology on and your life changes and everything's for the best, right? So you would have had a rollout across lots of different locations. Would love to hear a bit more about that, and also like what surprised you from that rollout plan.
Yeah. So I just want to give a shout out, to be honest, to the RL community and the TA community, because it's a really special industry and community to be part of. People are so open and willing to share, and I have learned so much from my peers. It's been life-changing. When I was going through this process, I reached out to a couple of people and I got some invaluable advice, and one of them was to build a bit of like a comms plan around the rollout, because again, I didn't have any business analyst resource, I didn't have any IT resource, and this is where my team just came into their own. So we built what we called tracks. So there was like little videos for each part of the process. So if you were doing like how to get a job approved, there was a little mini video that was specific to that. And we built them up through the whole process. There was then like an end-to-end rollout guide. And then my team then took that and just delivered it in person wherever possible across the country. They spent days and nights away from their family and their loved ones delivering this training, because actually face-to-face is the better option. And then we also had like the teams drop-ins as well as part of that rollout, but they were unreal.
Yeah, and people power the technology.
Definitely,
right?
definitely.
It's so important to say that, and getting out in front of your stakeholders. So
yes.
Go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, because something that I hadn't mentioned is in our business, I don't know what your businesses are like, but in ours, tech rollouts don't always go very well. There's always like a lot of negativity or a lot of like skepticism. Oh God, another system. Is this really going to do what it says it's going to do? And when we rolled out ICIMS and Zinc, it was unbelievable. The reception from all of the hiring managers was fantastic. And we are incredibly proud as a team to probably be, up to that point, the best IT rollout that Busy Bees have ever seen, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you. Okay, so I think what comes out from speaking with you, like we had a dinner last night with some questionable broccoli. Please speak to Natalie about that later. One of the things that strikes me about yourself and your team is, one, you're passionate, but also you're always looking at that bigger picture and that bigger impact. And I would love to hear like how your hiring and your TA strategy and your infrastructure ties into that broader growth, because I think we all want to get a bit closer to that strategic piece as well. And I think you've done it excellently. Would love to hear more.
So when I first joined Busy Bees 3 years ago, like recruitment, if anyone recognises this, when you walk into a business and it's like, oh, everything's on fire, there's this problem, there's that problem, and it's quite overwhelming, especially with a business of this scale. So what we've put in place by working through this process and with suppliers and with the team is we've built an infrastructure that is ready for scale. It also allows us to put a strategy together that my team of 14 people cannot be all over the 400 nurseries in the UK and the 800 to 1,000 vacancies that they have at any given time. It's impossible. But what we've been able to do is structure how we deliver our time and effort in a way that is what the business needs. So in the places where they really need the support of my team, we absolutely give them that, and it's just made a massive difference. It means that the business is now receptive to us as a recruitment team. They are listening to us, they're consulting with us, they are taking direction from us, and it's just, it's just massively moved the dial.
And in order to be able to do that, you need some sort of visibility, right? So and you touched on it right at the beginning of the conversation as well, it's like that was one of the things you wanted to focus in, as improving that visibility to help you make better decisions and move faster and quicker. So how has the end-to-end visibility changed for you and your central team?
So it's just changed drastically. As I've said before, the team are able to focus in where they need to. They're able to provide advice and solutions to the business where we need to. We're able to identify where maybe other parts of the process that we're not responsible for are going wrong. And we're just able to give the hiring managers much more confidence and trust and be more credible in front of our stakeholders.
And I think also like the data here and how you've moved the needle is incredible. And anybody who wants a further deep dive on that, please connect in with Natalie and she can go in further detail for you. But hands up, I'm curious, who right now feels like they're stuck in a fragmented process, hands up, or a manual process, don't have the line of visibility? Hands up. Everyone's got a great function, perfect. Okay, we've got some honesty there. Okay, amazing. So Natalie, speaking to the people who feel like there is some fragmentation or there is areas of improvement, because I think we're all looking for those 1%. What's your advice to them? How can we move from manual to a slicker way of working?
So I think that what you do when you're looking at process is you look at the people and the people in the process, and you start with them. And it's really understanding where their pain points are and being able to really identify where the opportunities are to make that better. And I think if you start with the people and you end with the people and you keep them in mind all the way through, then you're not going to go far wrong. I think it's easy to get, taken away with, AI and all of these like wonderful technology products. But fundamentally, this is about, in recruitment, we're about people. So we're about the candidates, we're about the hiring managers, we're about the people that we're responsible for within our team. And if you keep those three groups of people in mind, then I think you can't go wrong.
Hopefully that's some people scribbling away there. So look, with this latest transformation and change project, you've improved faster hiring by 35%. You've created 87.5% greater efficiency, and you've brought back a 97% ROI for your business. That's an awful lot to achieve, but what is next for you? What's the next chapter?
Yeah, so the capacity now that we've got in the team, as I've alluded to already, is allowing people to really focus in now on where the business needs it most. So that in itself is just going to continue to be a theme. But in terms of what's next, we are always still looking to improve that candidate experience. We need to make sure that we are, delighting candidates wherever possible, and that we make ourselves stand out as the best employer in our market. But we're also looking at the global piece, because the UK is being used as a beacon. So within our kind of global our global portfolio, the UK is used as this is where it's well in the UK, and it's the biggest market. So we can use this elsewhere and we can scale. So that's really the next stage for us.
Yeah. Okay, so no rest for the team.
More.
So first of all, please give a clap to Natalie, because I think an amazing journey with amazing results, right? Yeah, incredible. And to cover off a whole transformation project in 30 minutes is...
Let's see, we have maybe one or two questions. Are you guys game for that?
Yeah. No,
or do you have a spiel?
If you could get your phones up and scan Natalie's QR code, come find Natalie at our tent. We're tent 43, and she's happy to go into a lot more detail and conversation. If you scan my QR code, we're actually giving complimentary Gartner reports that have recently been released. So if you are looking at your technology stack, or you have a particular interest in the latest report, please connect in with me, and I'll send that copy to you after the party part of RecFest. So with that being said, you read my mind. Well, we know we've taken a lot of time. We'll take questions at our stage. Nicole's designed an amazing area, so French Riviera with a bar. That's the most important part. But there's also some amazing guides that you can download, and some other cool pieces. So please come find Natalie and myself. And one more time for the Busy Bees team, because it's an incredible project.